Life has a cruel irony. Just when you least expect it, it shows you who it really is. I know that better than anyone. At 12, I found that being a daughter does not guarantee place in any family. My parents, those who should be my safe haven, discarded me as an object that no longer served. And the worst? They only remembered me 8 years later, when my name began to shine in the technology. We always think of you, they said, as if that erased the fact that they had abandoned me in an institution. I smiled bitterly. What convenient. Let's then remember how it all started. It was an ordinary family, or at least it seemed. We were squeezed in a 2-bedroom apartment on Klenovaya Street in Tver. I, my 2 older brothers Ilya, the firstborn of 16, and Artem, the middle one with 14, and my parents, Oleg and Natalia. He, an exhausted employee of a logistics company, she, a supermarket box that barely had time to breathe. On Sundays, the table was put with solonka, puree with meatballs and dried fruit jam. A sacred tradition. But as they delighted with normality, I felt an intruder. Ilya had inherited severe eyes and the frowning way of her father. Artem, the maternal smile and the habit of twisting the hair when nervous. I. A piece that did not fit into the puzzle. Who pulled to whom, this girl? They whispered their relatives, as if my existence were a factory defect. The signs that something was wrong began to appear as cracks on a wall. My parents whispered in the kitchen at night, thinking we were sleeping. My mother came out of the bathroom with swollen, crying eyes. My father arrived after midnight, sold out, and collapsed on the couch without even changing clothes. Ilya, oblivious to everything, lived glued to his cell phone or missing with friends. Artem took refuge in basketball, training late at the No. 3 sports school. And me. It was there, feeling the air becoming heavier and heavier, like before a storm. That Sunday started like any other. Oven roast smell, olivey salad on the table, the news talking about another increase in electricity bills. Until my father suddenly lowered the TV volume and looked at us with an expression that froze my blood. "Children, we need to talk," he said, and my stomach turned as if I had swallowed lead. My mother, with a trembling voice, released the bomb, "We will separate." The silence that followed was so dense that you could hear the clock on the wall. Artem, always the most sensitive, was the first to react. And what? What will be us? My mother stretched her hand to caress his arm, but my father's answer sounded like a knife. "This is among us. You have nothing to do with it." Ilya relaxed on her shoulders, relieved. After all, he would just need to choose which one would be with. Artem, after a moment of hesitation, chewed her food again as if nothing had happened. But me. I saw the gaze they exchanged, that silent dialogue that only couples who have already untied dominated. Something was wrong. Something they weren't telling. The following weeks were a blur of seedlings and lies. My father moved to a tiny apartment at Prospect Moskovsky. My mother started working on double shifts, disappearing in the morning and returning when the night had already swallowed the day. Ilya, now independent, barely appeared at home or was delivering orders to win a change, or missing with the class. Artem was playing in training and lessons, as if tiredness could drown anxiety. And me. I was alone in that empty apartment, wondering if my existence was the weight that had broken their balance. Maybe if I weren't here, they would still be together. The day of the trial has come as an announced sentence. My mother insisted that we were to appear, as if it were just a bureaucratic process. But the court, with its dark wood walls and the coat of arms hanging as an irony, had an air of serious things. The judge, a 50-year-old woman with a look she has seen too much, flipped our documents while lawyers spoke of division of goods, child custody and alimony. Until the question came that would change everything: how do you intend to resolve the question of children? My father, with the firm voice of those who had already rehearsed that speech, let out, "Considering my financial situation after the division of goods, I can assume the custody of my eldest son, Ilya. He is 16 years old, practically independent." It was like punching the stomach. A son. Only one. My mother, without even blinking, added, "I agree with the ex-husband. I will take Artem. He is 14 years old, soon he can work." And me. What was left for me? The impassive judge turned the page and read aloud, Kira, 12 years. My parents exchanged a look, and my mother sentenced, she still has a lot ahead. It's a lot of expenses, school, clothes, both activities. We evaluate and, we have come to the conclusion that none of us can assume their guard at the moment. Her words echoed as if they came from the bottom of a well. None of us. The judge wrote something in her rolls and stated without a shred of excitement, in this case, the smallest will be temporarily sent to a host center until a permanent solution is defined. My parents, my former pais nodded in unison. It was then that something inside me burst. This is not fair, I shouted, getting up from the chair. You can't throw me out like I'm garbage. I'm also your daughter. Ask what I want. The judge hit the hammer. Girl, you feel. The decision was made thinking about your good. In my good. The tears were dripping down my face as I shouted, you are playing with me. 2 bailiffs approached, each holding one of my arms. Come on, don't complicate things, said one of them, dragging me out of the room. No one looked back. Ilya, immersed on the cell phone. Artem, lost in the window. My mother, wiping the tears with a handkerchief that was not used to hide the cowardice. My father, signing papers as if it were just another employment contract. No goodbye. No sorry. None we love you. The Rodnik Family Support Center was in an old grey building that had already been a kindergarten. The bars in the windows, the smell of disinfectant in the corridors, and the feeling that this place was just a passage station for children that no one wanted. My new house was a room that divided with 3 girls, Svetlana, 15, daughter of alcoholics who abandoned her for 6 months, Moshe, 10, who cried every night calling for her dead mother, and Nastia, my coetary, a survivor of shelters who already knew too much about how the world can be cruel. Don't cling to, she warned me on the first night. The less you expect, the less you will hurt. I waited anyway. For weeks, I tried to call Ilya mailbox. For Artem, called closed. On the 3rd day, I was able to talk to my father. Kira, stop that, he growled impatiently. What happened, past. You need to move on. But I want to go home, I begged. Your answer was a blow, this is better for everyone. You will understand when you grow up. And hung up. My mother resisted a little more. Attended the 5th attempt. Why did you leave me? Your voice was distant, almost strange. One day you will thank you for it. After that, my numbers were blocked. Then I decided that if they went out of their lives, I would do the same. That they damn the happiness they chose. Svetlana Petrovna, the social worker with armed hair and tablet forever in her hand, promised that they would soon find me a wonderful family. But I already knew the truth. Some people are made to be forgotten. And at that moment, I was one of them. Svetlana Petrovna looked at me with that professional smile from those who have heard all the excuses of the world, while sinking the same litany. Kira, you're your own worst enemy. Give people a chance. As if I didn't know that chances were just another word for excuses to abandon you again. I don't need chances, I growled between my teeth. I need you to leave me alone. She didn't understand. Or I didn't want to understand. It was not about sabotage, it was about survival. If you don't let anyone approach, no one will have the strength to tear you out of life later. Basic mathematics. You're a smart girl, he sighing, noting the tablet notes with that air of whom he already caught me in some manual category, challenging behavior, difficulty adaptation, emotional risk. That they damn their diagnoses. At least they were honest. At least they didn't blatantly lie like those families who pushed me pink rooms and plastic smiles, as if I were a doll that needed a toy house to feel real. The center, at least, did not pretend. There the rules were clear, schedules, meals, silences shared with other ghosts like me. No one expected gratitude. No one Finxia surprised when I didn't smile. We were all spare pieces of a puzzle that no one wanted to ride. Maybe that's how I'm going to live, I thought one night, leaning against the cafeteria window, watching the weak light of the pole shake over the empty courtyard. From place to place, without leaving marks, without being necessary for anyone. Some are born to be forgotten. I had already accepted that. Until, in one of those grey days when even the air smelled of giving up, Svetlana Petrovna entered the study room with a strange glow in her eyes, that same shine that preceded bad news disguised as hope. Kira, we have a situation. She hesitated, as if she chose the words with tweezers. Your distant relatives contacted your mother's line. Relatives. The word sounded as absurd as happiness in the mouth of those fake couples. What relatives? My voice came out more rough than I intended. As far as I understand, they are your mother's cousins. They. Well, they knew your situation and want to talk. She stirred the tablet, as if the information there could convince me. They say they are very kind people. No children. They just want to know her. No children. It hooked me. Without competition. No brothers to be preferred, without comparisons, without the need to prove that it deserved a place at the table. Do they want to adopt me? Svetlana Petrovna shook her head, cautious. Not exactly. Still. They want to talk to you first. Just that. As if that's all weren't the prelude to another disappointment. Okay, I shrugged. What difference did it make? If it were half of what my parents had been, they would give up even before seeing me. They look very nice, Svetlin insisted, as if his words could protect me. Aunt Lida is a nurse. Uncle Boris works with maintenance. They live in a house outside the city. Perfect, I thought. Another pair of naive thinking that love solves everything. But for the first time in months, something inside me, something small, stubborn, didn't growl back. Just observed. Waited. Like an injured animal that, against all logic, still raises the ear to the sound of steps approaching. Since childhood, I absorbed everything like a sponge. It was not the youngest in the class, but captured concepts in the air like oxygen. It was Professor Mikhail Petrovich who first saw, you have a natural gift for algorithms. And I dived headlong. First the Municipal Olympics, then the regional. Yandex Cup Junior. Awards accumulating like trophies of a war that I was finally gaining. It wasn't for the diplomas, it was. By the eyes of others changing. For the first time, they didn't see myself as that orphanage problem, but as talent. Aunt Red and Uncle Boris swelling with pride in a way that my biological parents never swell. They attended each competition, clicked photos with the trophies, boasted to the neighbors as if I were an Olympic medal hung on their chest. At first it was strange. Adults who really cared. 8 years without a phone call, without a birthday card, without a Happy New Year played in the void. They erased me. Sometimes I thought of Ilya and Artem, where they would be, as they would be, but drowned these thoughts before they missed. What is the difference? I graduated with a gold medal, took 100 in the computer enum. I entered Vyatka with full scholarship and scholarship. On the day of the collation, Aunt Lida cried. Uncle Boris fired photos like a paparazzo in ecstasy. We are so proud of you, daughter. Aunt Lida hugged me. You deserve it all, echoed Uncle Boris. And there, between those words, I understood, those two who did not even share with me vibrated through my triumphs more than those who gave me life. At university, I drowned in the code. While colleagues lost themselves at parties and hangovers, I locked in the laboratories, sculpting projects, freezing websites, apps, Telegram bots. The money started to enter and it wasn't change. In the 3rd year, it earned more than many established adults. I started to repay. I paid math, bought new appliances, renovated the dacha. They resisted. No need, we realize. I insisted. They saved me. Now it was my turn. The psychologist, the one who dragged me in the 1st year, made a difference. I understood that my isolation was not a defect, it was survival. The pain was so great that it was easier not to let anyone get close. Close friends. I never had. But I stopped spitting poison at those who crossed my way. The hackathons became my religion. From university students to federal, always at the top. Awards stacked, my name gained weight on the tech ecosystem, until in 2020 everything exploded. I won Digital Breakthrough, the main federal hackathon. 1 million rubles in his pocket, but it was not for the money. It was for recognition. H-Index, VK, SBER, Tinkoff. Offers rained like confetti. Newspapers fought for interviews. HABA, VC.OU, Regional TV. Talent developer of TVR, winner of the Federal Hackathon, the new star of It Russo. My face everywhere. A month after the victory, I was at home, typing on the notebook, when the intercom played. Aunt Lida went to answer. And then I heard a voice that froze my blood. We came to see Kira. 8 years of silence. And there she was, Natalia Viktorova, stopped at the door as if nothing had happened. I left the room. My mom. And Artem. He was already 1.8 am, but I recognized him on time. Kira. She smiled as if we were childhood friends. My God, how you grew up. So adult. Artem also smiled. So, sister. How good to see you. I didn't say anything. 8 years, I finally let go. 8 years without a word. Without a phone call. Neither on my birthday nor in the new year. You went out. And now they appear out of nowhere. Ah, Kirochka, don't overdo it. She pouted. We had so much work. But we always think of you. Look, we're here now. Of course, I laughed dryly. Right after they learned of Hackathon and the 1 million prize. What a coincidence. Her face contracted. It's not for the money. Of course not, I cut. They came because they realized that now I have perspectives. And then, when they need help, they will knock on my door. How do you dare? How can you say that? Her eyes shone. We are family. Family. That word burned me like acid. I learned to be cruel to you, he said calmly. When they dropped me like garbage. Aunt Lida placed himself between us, a human wall. I think it's time to leave. My mother me. He ran down one last look as if I were the traitor and left. As if I had broken something she never held. 2 days later, the phone rang. A tired voice, with accent. I heard about your successes, Kira. My father. I'm proud. Now I live in Berlin. If you want, I can help with change, studies here. I'm not ready yet to talk. I understand. But think about the future. The line changed hands. Hi, Kira. It's me, Ilya. 20-4 years, also in Germany. How about adding me to VK? We can talk slowly. 8 years of silence. And now they wanted a soft transition? I have no interest. I hung up. 2 years passed. Vyatka graduation. Red diploma. University gold medal. The crowded auditorium exploded in applause when they announced my name. The rector gave me a special sign. Kira Borisova embodies the best qualities of our graduates. A bright future in the IT industry waiting. I climbed to the microphone. I want to thank the teachers for their knowledge and, above all, to my parents, a strategic break, Lyudia Sergeyevna and Boris Petrovich. They believed in me when no one else did it. Everything I have achieved, I owe them. They showed me what true love is. Aunt Lida cried. Uncle Boris radiated pride like a sun. And then I saw them. All four. My mother, my father, Ilya, Artem. They must have smelled the ceremony in some way, appeared without invitation. After the ceremony, they approached. We always be proud of you, my father said, trying a hug. I could have grateful to us too, my mother added offended. After all, we gave you life. I looked into her eyes. If I had thanked you, I would have to explain how they left me in court 10 years ago. Kira, understand, she twisted her hands. It was better that way. To everyone. I will never understand. And I don't want to see you anymore. We are your family. Ilya tried. My family is Lyudia Sergeyevna and Boris Petrovich. I turned to them, who looked at me with a mixture of pain and relief. You are just people with the same DNA. Strangers. You can't be angry forever, we shook your head. When you want to talk to you, I look for you. And I walked away. Today I work at the Yandex office in Moscow. I earn enough not to need to ask anyone anything. Help Aunt Lida and Uncle Boris, I bought a new car for them, renovated the dacha. On Sundays, I'm going to TVR, soup, tea, silly conversations. A normal family. Sometimes I think of others. But it doesn't hurt anymore. They are just shadows. An empty space. And it's okay.